And I am here on behalf of the CFP, but also on behalf of the Rose Bowl to say first, congratulations, Coach, and to the Buckeyes on an impressive win tonight and a great season. And really want to say welcome to the quarterfinals and the Rose Bowl. And as a commemorative token, game ball, we'd like to present this to you and just say all the best to you and your team as you move forward and advance the chains. Congrats, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Absolutely. Great job.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Here, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll open up for questions, Coach, or opening comments?
Yep, questions.
Questions? Okay, over here to the right, Austin Ward, the podcast.
Ryan, I don't know any artful way to say this, but where was that performance hiding for your team?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm proud of our seniors for a lot of reasons. One, for the fact that they were able to finish their last game at Ohio Stadium with a win like that, and I'm also proud of the way that they responded. And I told them in the locker room that in life, you're gonna be defined by the way you handle adversity in life. As a person, as a man, as a dad. And so, to see the way that they responded in this game, you can tell from the jump that they had a look in their eye that they were going to go win this game. And I thought they played that way. So a lot of football ahead of us. Great win. But we're going to enjoy this for 24 hours, and then it's on to Oregon.
Over to the left, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Ryan, from a coaching perspective, this was like 180 from your last game. What did you guys do different? Did you just say, we're just going to go out and throw the ball, play loose, play aggressive?
I think it was a combination of things. I think that it's a little bit of everything. I think when you go back and look at the season, we talked about it going into the game. We were a different team. When we lost Seth, we played that Indiana game. We got, the punt return. Looking back on it, we got that turnover down in the red zone. We really didn't play great on offense in the Indiana game, truth be told. And then we went into the last game and still didn't quite know what the ramifications were of everything that was going on based on who we had up front. And, there was a lot of things that played into that game, but certainly one of them was we called this game more aggressively. There's no question about that. But also I think we did some things in this game that maximize what we have in terms of our strengths and minimize our deficiencies. Not that everything was perfect in this game. It wasn't. But I do think that and I also thought Will was excellent in this game, played really well, did a really good job of placing the ball in some big-time throws. When he needed to make plays with his legs, he did. And certainly Jeremiah, was dynamite again. But Will was the leader. And but we also had balance in this game. It wasn't like it was just throwing it all over the place. We did have balance. We had some good runs. And those hit for us, which makes a big difference when you have that run pass balance that we're looking for. So, this has got to continue. This has got to build momentum, going into this next game.
Over to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Ryan, you dominated the first half, but then you look up at the scoreboard heading into halftime, and you're only up 11. Did you feel like maybe you let them off the hook a little bit? And what was that conversation like at halftime, knowing that you did dominate that half, albeit only an 11-point margin?
Yeah, that's why we knew coming out in the second half we had to win the next 4 to 5 minutes, and we did. And that really helped because you're right. You can feel that way a little bit. But I say to them all the time, coming in halftime, you're either going to be up, down, or it's going to be tied. And so now we have to go win the next 5 minutes of the game, 4 minutes of the game. And, they deferred, so they got the ball. So we had to get that stop. We did. And then we went down and scored, and that made a huge difference. But yeah, I tell the guys all the time that, you're in games like this, you got to have poise because there's ups and downs, and you can't get caught up in that. But yeah, there was a point there we have a chance to go up 28-0, and we threw the interception. Great play, and I like the call. I like how aggressive we were because that's part of it. When you're going to call the game aggressively, something like this happens. You have to be willing to work, live with it. But yeah, you had a chance to score right there and go 28-0, and the game's pretty much in hand at that point. But they fought their way back in. But they're a good team. This is a very good SEC team that came up here, and so we knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, I know obviously the confidence for this group comes from the work you put in on a daily basis, but when you sit for weeks and you just obviously just want to get in the game, How important is it for you to have that first drive, the way you guys did that, to build confidence for the rest of that game?
And just the execution. We've talked about that the last few weeks in some of the press conferences we've been in. That I know you've heard us harp on execution, because there's a lot of things coming out of that last game that we just look back on and we're like, we just didn't execute very well. We did, and certainly there are things that we needed to do better in terms of scheme, but we also didn't execute. I thought we for the most part fielded the kicks better in this game. I thought we blocked better in this game. I thought we ran through contact better in this game, and certainly we threw and caught better in this game, and that made a huge difference in it. But you're right, there was a confidence coming out of that first quarter because we were playing with a lot of energy. But even coming out of warm-ups, you could feel it. There was these guys wanted to play in this game, and there was a confidence that got built through practice. And I thought we had a good game plan going in. I think the guys believed in it, and that went a long way to get that first drive.
Folks, I'm going to have Jack Sawyer and Cody Simon go to the back 2 tables there to start their interviews. Then we're going to go ahead and continue with Coach Dave, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch. Thank you, gentlemen. Either one of the back 2 tables.
Describe how you got through it and just how important this was, because this was a season-defining win to this point. What did you do to make sure that you guys were ready? Because that was obviously a devastating loss.
Well, the first week was an identification of the issues. You don't just move on from the game. You have to identify what the issues are and have real conversations with the players, allow them to speak because they're invested in this. And then, coaches have their 2 cents, and you give it about a week, and then you put a plan together on how we're going to move forward, how we're going to get these things fixed, and then you figure out who your opponent is. We found out it was Tennessee, and that's where the 2 weeks of work went. And it got about Wednesday of this week, you could tell these guys just wanted to get on the field. It had been a long lead up for us, weeks. And it does, to say it doesn't weigh on you, it does. We got a lot of pride in who we are, and these guys have a lot of pride. And these guys, they love each other, and they're a great representation of Ohio State. And I'm glad that they were able to, for the last game for those seniors to finish with a win. But they are not satisfied at all. I mean, they quickly are going to get their focus on Oregon, which is going to be a rematch for us, which is exciting, and going into a great opportunity to go play in the Rose Bowl again. And I think it says a lot about who our guys are that we're able to respond like that in a big way.
Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ryan, you talk a lot about leave no doubt. How important was it for you guys in terms of building momentum to not just win tonight, but to leave no doubt?
That's it. And even there were a couple points in the game where, there's some couple calls and, different things where, in the past when you have one of these games that comes down to the last play, you can look to those as game-altering plays. But when you leave no doubt, nobody will talk about those plays because we did. And there was a few opportunities in this game to do that very thing. 4th down stop. There was, again, that those drives right there in the third quarter that I felt like allowed us an opportunity to pull away when the defense was getting stops.
Over to the right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, you told us during the week that we could see a rotation on the interior of your offensive line there. Can you just talk about the job Luke Montgomery did, but then also Austin's playing essentially 2 different positions in one game. Just evaluate the job he did going back and forth depending on who was in the game with him.
When you don't notice the guards, they're doing pretty well. I noticed Luke's energy, toughness, and edge. I got to watch the film and see how he did, but we blocked them much better in this game, and they have a good front. I thought we got some of the gap schemes going, some good double teams. It wasn't all perfect by any means, but and we'll have to continue to diversify going into the next game. But I thought we at least focused on the things that these guys could do well, and now we got to build on it. And they played with confidence. They played with energy. You could see after we scored a couple of touchdowns. I mean, they were jacked up and coming off the field with good energy. And the leaders of that group certainly is Donovan Jackson, Josh Fryer, and great to see Carson play well. It looked like, anyways, from my point of view, watching the game on the tablet, that he played well. So that allows us to have balance, and as you know, that's a huge part of it. Yeah, we'll have to look at it and see, but it seems healthy to me to get those guys, involved in the game.
we're going to go just a couple more questions for Coach. Over to the left, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, this week the defense talked about, if they had to win the game, they felt confident doing that. Obviously, your offense plays the way it does, so they don't have that as much on their shoulders. But other than a couple drives, they hold the fort down. Their performance and just what they can build on from this.
Well, they're playing with confidence, and coming off the last game, I think they felt like, we have to go win the game. But when the offense is playing to their potential like they were today, then now it's complementary, and you can end up with a game like we did tonight. So you just never know. It could be like the Oregon game. It could be like, the last game of the season. You just never know how those games are going to shake out. And we have to do whatever we can to win. We've talked about that before. Just win the game. And so we got to win 3 more.
Over to the right here, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, with Will, that first touchdown throw just seemed like it was just so on point.
Yeah.
He looked to be just kind of dealing tonight. Did you see anything different from him in the last couple weeks? Just because, downfield, he looked better. He just looked more concise almost at every turn.
Yeah, I thought his footwork was good. I thought that we worked hard on some of those throws, and he hit a few of those right on the money. Yeah, the fade ball and the goal ball were really well done. I thought the levels ball too. Carnell was a really well thrown ball. Probably missing a few others, but yeah, he was accurate today. And a big thing for Will is his footwork. When his footwork's on point. And when he's seeing things well, he's as good as anybody in the country.
Folks, we've just sent Donovan Jackson to the back of the room as well. And this will be the last question for Coach Day. Scott Dockerman, The Athletic.
Yeah, Ryan, I wanted to ask you just kind of a big picture about the Big Ten and what the season maybe looks like when you have 3 teams advance into the quarterfinals. And from a big picture perspective, what was this first year like playing in the Big Ten, and how good are these teams that are in the tournament?
Well, I think the Big Ten has great football. I think that we play 9 conference games, so we beat each other up sometimes. But when you have an opportunity like this against a very good SEC team, we know how important that is for the conference, and great to see some of the other teams in the league representing well, because it is a great conference and a very difficult conference.
Coach, thank you very much.
Sounds good.
We're going to open up. Hold on one second. Joey Kaufman will get the first question for Chip Kelly, please.
Thanks, Jerry. Don't you guys have deadlines? Deadlines, you guys can leave.
Chip.
Always deadlines, right?
Chip, Tennessee's front was known for kind of getting pressure on quarterbacks and sacks.
Mm-hmm.
You guys didn't give up any tonight. It seemed like Will had a lot of time to throw. What do you think the line you guys did to kind of ensure get a clean pocket? It seemed like for a lot of the game.
Yeah, I think our line played outstanding tonight. That defense going in, I think they were 5th in the country in total defense and 5th in scoring defense, and we know how difficult they can be. You watch their games, and they got after everybody they played. But I think really credit to our offensive line keeping Will clean. Will knew if he could be clean and go through his reads and get a chance to get through his progressions, we'd have a shot at beating these guys. And I think our offensive line did an outstanding job in protection tonight for Will.
Hey, folks, if we can start to wrap up with Cody and Jack back there. Over here to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
When you make some changes along the offensive line, are there things that maybe you can do to help those guys out? Are there ways that you can call plays, things you can scheme up to help them out, like that maybe you wouldn't otherwise do if it was your...
We're always trying to play to their strengths. So depending on who's in the game, and Justin did a great job of telling us what the rotation is, who's in at left guard, who's in at right guard. Everybody has strengths. Sometimes you try to hide a weakness or two. But I think we tried to play to all of their strengths. I think all 3 of those guys have strengths. I think just you don't get a ton. We get some feedback looking at the tablets and seeing some things. But I thought all 3 of those guys did a nice job. We'll break the film down early tomorrow and get a grade on them and get a look at them. But I think having depth at this point in time during the season is critical. And the fact that we got 3 guys in there that I think played at a pretty high level today was important for us.
Front row left, Andy Anders, 11 Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, to what extent do you buy into the fact that you can throw to set up the run? And was that kind of the emphasis in this game? Because it was a lot of passes early and then later kind of took control and ran out the clock with the running game.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on who you're playing. So I think there's always a philosophical approach when you're playing somebody based upon what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and what you're trying to exploit. I don't think it's necessarily as easy as saying throw to set up the run. I've done that before and gone 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and we haven't gone anywhere with it. So it's not just, hey, just do this and it works. It comes down to the players executing, and I thought our players executed at a really high level tonight.
Over here to the right, Stefan Kreishnik, Cleveland.com.
For the last 3 weeks, what impressed you about Will? Not just the way his play improved, but kind of how he handled the 3 weeks after the Michigan loss.
Yeah, I think the one thing with Will is he's consistent. He's the same person every day. He's not too high, he's not too low. He's a lifelong learner. He's got a thirst for learning. He's in every day. He's watching film, he's studying, he's always trying to get better, and can he get just a little bit better on a daily basis. But the one thing about Will, there's a consistency to his approach, and there's a consistency to how he is every single day in practice. He's not one of those guys that's low on one day, high on another day. He's not like that. He's kind of really steady in his approach to how he prepares for games, and I think that's what you see when he plays in a game like he did tonight.
Okay, we're going to go do one more question for Coach Kelly, but in the meantime, I'm going to send JT Tuimoloau to that back table on the right. Over here to the left, Jake Trotter, ESPN.
Yeah, Chip, a few days after the Michigan game, Ryan said, we have plenty of good enough players to go on a run and win the national championship. What did this performance tonight say about what you guys are capable of when you play your game?
Yeah, it says we're one of 8 teams left. Everybody is fighting for the same prize, and obviously each game gets a little bit more amplified, but to win it all, you got to win the first one, and that was always really the whole team's focus. And I thought Ryan did a great job with keeping everybody focused. It really wasn't talk about what are we going to do on January 20th, because January 20th didn't mean anything if we didn't take care of December 21st. I think our guys were laser focused on playing this game. Obviously, when you turn the tape on and you watch how talented Tennessee is, that got your attention right away. So, there was no looking past them to whoever is the next game. And obviously, we know we're going to go play the Oregon. And that was in the back, though. It was just all about Tennessee, because you got to win the first one to get going. So we'll regroup tomorrow. We'll look at the film, and then we'll start as quick as we can getting ready for the next one.
And one last question, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Nobody knows Ryan and is closer to Ryan than you are in the coaching profession. Last 3 weeks, I would imagine, have been as tough a time for him as ever in his coaching career. How did he handle it? What did you see from him during this period? Maybe that, I don't know if you'd seen before or just impressed you or whatever.
No, I just saw the guy I've known since he was 5, and I told him a long time ago, he's built for this, and he understands it. He understands the gravity of what his position is. He understands, how everybody feels about Buckeye football, and rightly so, and he feels the same exact way. So I don't think anybody took the loss to the team up north harder than he took that loss, and that's just the type of person he is. But he also has to lead from the front. So it wasn't feel sorry for me and, hey, is everybody going to pick me up or are they going to make me feel better? It was like, no, we got to address this the right way. We got to look at what we did on film. We got to figure out how can we correct that. How do we put our positions? I think your job as a coach is to put your players in positions to make plays. We didn't do that in the last game, and we did a better job of that tonight. And then our players went out and won this football game. There's not one coach that played today. So the credit goes to those guys. They were awesome, and they were clicking on all cylinders. And when you start to call plays and Will can finish the play before you get it out, you know how dialed in you are. And I think that's what these 2 weeks were, as we're saying, hey, we're going to go to 9. And before I could even get the second part of the play out, and it was a 10-play word call, he had it. He knew what we were doing. And I think the buy-in, especially from the leaders here and our senior leaders, is tremendous. And I think that's what's going to propel us as we continue to move forward with the ultimate goal of trying to get to January 20th. In both. We have a communication system that is kind of unique, but we're always talking through the headset, and he'll hand signal and got it, and I will start to make a no, check it to and he knows he got it, and so I think it just tells where he is and how dialed in Will has been throughout the entire season. And I think, I don't know what he finished today, but I think it was above 80 again. We talk about that, but I think there's a reason for that, and it's how hard he works at it. I think he understands the fundamentals of the position, but really the game within the game, and taking what the defense gives him and making those decisions of when to take a check down and not to force a play. But if your opportunities come and you do have a shot to put the ball in only a spot where JJ can catch it, or if JJ can't catch it, they're going to have to interfere with him. And great decision making today. But I think the credit goes to the players, man. Those guys have been awesome since what happened in the last game. And I think those guys said, hey, we got a chance here, and because we're in it, and that was the only thing they were hoping for is, are we still in this tournament? If we're in the tournament, then let's go win it.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a handful of questions for Coach Knowles.
Okay, no question.
Go ahead. Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
That's all right.
It seemed like, I mean, once again, the defense was pretty airtight. They had the 2 drives in the second quarter, and that was pretty much it. What was the priority for you guys in terms of game plan for this team?
Explosive plays, right? I mean, make them, if they're going to score, make them, I think the one play, one drive, one score, it was like a 16 play drive, and, you know, we had our shots and a really suspect quarterback roughing penalty, and you know, make them go the distance on us. And I thought we had a great plan. The early 3 and outs, right? Score early 3 and outs, scores, got us out in front.
Hey, folks, I'm going to just, if everyone could pause just for a moment. Did somebody pick up a wrong backpack? If you have a black backpack, can you please just make sure it's yours? We got to, oh. All right, let's go ahead and finish up with Jack Sawyer and with Donovan Jackson in the back. Second question for Coach Knowles. Andy Anders, 11 Warriors.
Jack and JT, this felt like one of their most disruptive, productive games. Just what did you see out of your 2 defensive ends in this?
You know, we knew they were going to have a good game, and you know, the set of their quarterback was a lot different. It was a lot tighter, and you know, we thought we would be able to change up coverage enough to make them hold the ball. So we expected that they were going to have a good game.
Over to the left, Coach Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Jim, how much are you looking forward to a rematch against Oregon? That's where you guys, you kind of took some hits there, but now you get a chance to redo. How different is this defense? We've talked about this. How different is this defense now compared to then?
Yeah, I don't know how different it is. I think there's been adjustments. There's been some different calls, but I think it's confidence. And, you know, we're looking forward to the opportunity because, you know, it was not a great game for us. And, you know, quite frankly, I think the guys got a little pissed off, and, you know, it led to a run for us, you know, in terms of defense and where we're at statistically, which is got to be number 1 or close to number 1 in categories, right? So I mean, you know, they used that game as a motivation. So I'm sure they're looking forward to another opportunity.
Over here to the right, James Watkins, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Jim, there's been a lot of SEC chest pounding, let's say, from pundits, even a few coaches on Twitter. I won't name names. But what do you think of that? Why does the SEC have that air of superiority around it, you think?
I have no idea. I don't know. I know we won today and we played pretty well. That's all I know.
Anything else for Coach Knowles? Jeff Gilbert, Press Pros.
Coach, they get the ball to start second half, and it's a tight game. What were you hoping to see? Obviously, you won. I know what you wanted to see, but what did you say? What was the halftime like? We got to do.
I got after him pretty good at halftime. I did, to be honest with you, because I felt like we were rolling in the beginning of the game, and then I just felt like we took our foot off the gas a little bit. So I got after him at halftime and challenged him, you know, because I knew the way the game was going that as long as we did our job, everything was going to turn out all right. So I thought they came out strong in the second half.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.